Good morning, afternoon, or evening, folks, and welcome to Cast of All Trades, the show where we talk about developing skills, exploring ideas, and following curiosity. I'm your host, Orion Siebert, and in this episode, I have the pleasure of talking to Aurora Burkhart, the inventor of Laundry Buddy. Have you ever been wandering through a store and just looked across the aisles and thought to yourself, why didn't I think of that? How come I didn't come up with that idea? Or have you ever had an invention idea pop into your head and just not know, what do I do next? In this episode, Aurora and I talk about what it takes to become an actual inventor, from problem solving to prototyping, bringing your product to market, the skills that help us inventors really do what we do, and so much more. I know I say this every time and with every interview, but I enjoyed this interview so much. I love to be able to connect with Aurora and talk about inventing because it's something I don't get the chance to really talk to someone about. It's cool to connect with someone who has that understanding, even from a different perspective. She takes from a perspective of bringing your product to market yourself, where I take it from a perspective of I want to license this product to someone. And it's cool to see how those two different ideas come together and we can both have very similar tactics to ultimately solve the same problem of how do we bring this idea to market? How do we create this invention idea? So much fun. And if you want more awesome interviews like the one you're just about to hear, subscribe so you don't miss out. Aside from that, I have a bit more news coming up. I've been working relentlessly on one or two solo episodes, and I'm super excited for them to come out over these next few weeks. And I'm working on getting more guests to come on soon. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all of that. A lot of work's been going into this, and I'm really trying to improve the quality of this show. So, I think that about covers it. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Aurora Burkhart. Aurora, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
It's good to be on. Thank you.
So, first things first, you have quite the eccentric background from what I've been able to see doing my research and prepping for this episode. Everything from restaurants to medical to Disney. I'd love to hear your story of what it is that you do and how did you start?
I'm an entrepreneur and I invented a product called Laundry Buddy, which is a little clip that you can put on various items during your laundry routine that will help you save time and money. Uh, as you mentioned, I've had quite a journey because I didn't really know what I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
growing up. I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit and wanted to pursue that, but that was a little discouraged with my family, so they pushed the medical field onto me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Uh, just tell me a bit more about that. What made you finally switch from medical to, oh, I can do this whole entrepreneurial thing?
Um, I'd have to say it was having kids. Um, when my when we had my first son, Jackson, is when I first finally was like, you know what? Like, I've had this idea for like a decade. I just, it was like 10 o'clock at night and he spit up all over the bed when he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
We had to put the sheets in the washer and put them in the dryer. Went to go get them at the dryer and the fitted sheet swallowed everything up and it was all wet and damp. And I was like, you know what? That's it. That's my last straw. Like, I'm going to invent this product that I've had on my mind forever. So I did. And in doing so, it kind of put me through a rabbit hole going down like a personal growth journey and realizing that I needed to accept and pursue this who I am as a person. And in doing so, I finally figured out why nothing else worked and why I never was able to do entrepreneur before because I just didn't accept that part of me and fully understand it,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm a very creative person. And that's why I didn't fit into all these other boxes. And this was the way that I was able to be creative and help people because I have always wanted to help people, which is why the medical field was appealing to me, but it's just not for me. I'm very empathetic and I can't flip that switch on and off.
Mm-hmm.
I was a CNA in a nursing home and I would come home and cry to my dad saying, like these people don't come and visit like their kids, they don't come and visit them or even give them, $40 so that they can go buy their own shampoo and conditioner at Target instead of using our 3-in-1. And it's just so sad that this is their life. And my sisters are nurses, and I can't flip that switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not for everyone. My dad has been in the medical field basically my entire life, and I can see what that can do to someone. It's it's not easy, so want a lot of respect for you being willing to even just go and try it. That's
Yeah.
it's not for everyone. Like
No, it's not.
people think that they can go and be nurses or doctors or CNAs, but it really is not a job for everyone.
No, it's not. And my husband, he's a firefighter,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell him I just don't know how you do it. I just
That's rough.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned this a little bit, but before diving into more about Laundry Buddy, I have a bit of a different question I wanted to ask that came up as I was preparing for this episode. Something that you wrote that caught my eye that I want to talk about. You wrote that, quote, "I strive to live an intentional life," and I'd like to hear more about what does that mean to you.
So I basically figured out I wasn't where I wanted to be in life, and I wasn't who I wanted to be in life because of all the choices that I was making, from who I'm talking to what songs I'm listening to what TV shows, to what I'm reading, to what I'm eating, to what I decide to do with my free time. And all of those small choices lead to a huge impact, which is your life. And if you're not where you are, you need to do an audit from everything to what do you do the second you wake up, from the second your head hits that pillow going to bed, all those a million decisions that you make in between. So to me, I try to live a very intentional life because I am in control of my life. I may not be in control of everything that happens to me, but I am in control of how I react. So to me, I want to live an intentional life because I can't go back to how I was, kind of like in a victim mentality, and oh, why is nothing working out for me, and why do I not have this and that, why am I not there yet, and I want that. And so it's because of me, because I need to be intentional and conscious of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So the way that you're describing it, to me, it sort of sounds like you were almost living life on autopilot for a while, where people would hoist their goals upon you to say, Aurora, this is what you should be doing, and you sort of internalize that to say, okay, yeah, that's what I should be doing. That's what everyone says I should be doing. Am I sort of on the right track there?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was I didn't, and part of not knowing what to do was everyone threw the basic jobs that, you go to high school and they give you a 10 list. Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to, it's just like your little basic list. And I was like, well, none of those, that's not really what I want. Actually, the test in high school, it said I should be like a forest fire ranger. Like that was like the number one job for me. And I was like, I don't like ticks and I'm afraid of them. So I'm going to cross that one off the list.
Clearly very effective.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me too, as again, I'm being intentional, is actually looking at what do I enjoy in life, what recharges my battery, and when I have free time, what do I choose to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
And it all led to this path. Like I love resetting myself, and I love to take the time to talk to people like you, like-minded individuals, or they like to talk about like, hey, let's get out of the box. And it's getting out of the box in multiple facets of your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's something interesting to me. So I'm currently based in Utah, and looking around, I see so much groupthink, so much people who, so many people who all think the exact same, who like they all share the same culture. It's weird. Like
Mhm.
it's so weird to be able to walk around and almost point out of like it's weird to be able to point at people and get so close to be able to describe their life word for word of this is what they do when they wake up, this is what they do during this point in time, what this point in time, their like this is their goals, their aspirations, and I feel like I shouldn't be able to do that with someone. And like most people, when I look around, to me, it seems like they're not living the intentional life. They're just sort
Mhm.
of going along the path that's well trodden before them to follow whatever instructions they've been given or whatever they've been taught and said. In school, you like, once you graduate high school, you go to college, you get a degree, you go get a salary job somewhere, work that for the rest of your life, maybe get married, maybe have kids, and continue that cycle over and over again.
Mhm.
But it really is when you sit down and talk to people who step off the path to go forge their own path or just walk a less trodden path, but something that's it's their choice to go and walk it. That's where you can get the really interesting conversations where you can meet really cool people who actually do stuff. And yeah, it's interesting.
It's definitely a conscious effort, and it's exhausting, and it opens up a rabbit hole. Like I said, it's just like, being an entrepreneur. I feel like when you talk to people who actually really dedicated the time, they do go on a personal growth journey or a spiritual awakening, because you just wake up and go, oh, like I was just programmed to, like you said, this is how I live life. This is what I'm supposed to do. This
This
is
is
how I'm
what
supposed to think. And,
this is what my dad did before me and what his grandpappy did before him. So
yeah.
therefore, it's what I do now.
Yeah, and it can be a very lonely path. Like
Mm-hmm.
your friends and family, they're not going to understand, and sometimes they won't support you, or they can support you, but they don't really understand it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I understand why people don't want to, because it's a very beautiful and painful thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What do you think is the biggest difference between people who actively go and strive to live that intentional life versus those who maybe never wake up to that?
Um, I would say they don't have the fear. And also, I think, to me, like, I hate when people say, like, oh, I don't want to fail. To me, the only time you're going to fail is when you don't learn anything from it. And that's it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know, this business can tank, but I learned a lot,
Mm-hmm.
not just about myself, but about business. So to me, I wasn't afraid to put myself out there and to go through with this, because I'm never going to fail, because I'm always going to take away something from it. And I think that holds back a lot of people, or some people really, really, really put stock into what other people think about them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You can look at my life and go, "Oh my god, like you're embarrassing. Like, how cringe." And I'm just like, "Well, it's my life. I'm the one that's gonna die and
Mm-hmm.
live with my regrets, not you." So you can look at my life and go, "I would could do complete opposite," and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's to each their own.
Absolutely. There are a few things that you touched on there that I think are very important, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur and going out to seek your own path in life. That is, I was reminded of two quotes. One is that you either like you touched on it. It's that you either win or you learn. There is like there are very few cases where there is an actual fail state to a thing where you got absolutely nothing out of trying something.
Yeah.
Like I can think of very few things where if you lose or you fail, that it's actually going to make a massive difference in your life.
Hmm.
Like you're always going to go into something whether you might succeed in it or you might quote unquote fail, but learn a lot in the process and maybe try again next time.
Hmm.
And another idea that popped into my head is an idea I like to remind myself frequently that there are three options in life when you go out to try to do anything. You can either succeed, you can quit, or you can die trying.
Hmm.
And most people end up in the quit category of, oh, I might try it, but after a while, I'll probably just quit. Even so, you still gain a lot from going out and trying to do the thing. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
pulling back to Laundry Buddy, was Laundry Buddy something that you intentionally sought to create, or was it more of a stroke of inspiration, an idea that you happened to stumble upon?
Um, I've had this idea for about 10 years. So I definitely wanted to invent a product that would help with the problem of the fitted sheet swallowing up all your other items. But as I made Laundry Buddy and brought it to the market, I, and along with our customers, found other solutions, like, putting it on your sports bras or your bathing suit tops so that the padding wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
fall out or fold in your socks and your collared shirts, so you don't have to iron the shirts of your collars and your pant legs. And I I didn't expect it to be this completely versatile product, and I'm like, wow, like that's kind of crazy. I could have came up with so many. I mean, I did come up with so many other designs. This is like probably design number 24.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I could have come up with so many other designs that weren't able to have all these other uses, and that's where I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, look how things work out.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. So take me back to the very beginning when if you can still remember, of when the idea of Laundry Buddy first popped into your head. What made you think that this is a problem that I can solve and there's a product that I can invent to solve whatever problem this is? Or was it that you started with a problem, then came to a solution? Or is it that you had a solution pop into your head and then looked for a problem for it?
So it definitely was a problem. And funny enough, my mom, she's so funny, love her. She never wanted us to do our own laundry because she was super paranoid that we would somehow break the laundry machine. Like we would put the in the fabric softener department. And the only time I was able to do my laundry is when they went on vacation. I don't know why. I know it's weird that I'm complaining that she wouldn't let me do my own laundry. But when I did finally start doing my laundry, and I realized, I was like, damn, like this fitted sheet just keeps swallowing everything up. That's so annoying. Let me set a timer on my phone. And then when I moved out, like with my husband, and it just kept becoming a problem. And then my final straw was, like I said, when I with my son, and I was like, I am a tired, exhausted mom. I cherish the little time that I have for myself, especially it's 11 o'clock at night. Like when we finally realized the sheets weren't done, and it was the winter. We only have one set of winter sheets, so we had to wait for it to be done. And you can only get as much sleep as a newborn will let you. And I was like, that's it. Like I'm done. I'm finally doing this. And then also, like I said, I was realizing, you know what, I've always had this inkling of wanting to be an entrepreneur, and then I have this idea, maybe this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going to go for it because I know I'm going to regret it if I don't.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about some of the mistakes you made along the way. You said this is maybe your 24th or 25th version of Laundry Buddy. So how did you, like, what were some of the mistakes you made from version 1 up through now?
Um, so I don't want to say mistakes because every product, every business is different and it's all trial and error.
Of course.
Um, I mean, we at first, well, first of all, we're not engineers, me and my husband. He does this with me. So trying to figure out an injection mold and what it needs to be, and for the plastic you have and the temperature you have, and we don't know any of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
whenever the engineers would talk to us, I'm like, okay, layman's terms, like let's break it down,
Let's
keep
make it
going.
English, not
Yeah.
engineerese.
So we went to a new manufacturer and they're like, hey, your injection mold, isn't the best. And we're like, well, how, I don't know. I don't know how to make one. So it's hard because you try to educate yourself as much as you can with the resources that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not an engineer. And in school, I was terrible. I was a C student. I never did well in school. That just wasn't me. So then you're trying to expect me to figure out how to properly engineer an injection mold. No, that's not going to happen. So that's one aspect. And another one is just marketing, trying to figure that out. The good and bad problem we have with Laundry Buddy is that, from the college student to the retiree, literally anyone that does laundry, because there's so many uses for it, can use Laundry Buddy. Well, now the problem is finding a message to every single demographic that hooks them and goes, oh, hey, that's totally applicable to my life. Yeah, I can use that. So I guess you would just say trying to get the marketing down and the correct message out to each different person that I'm trying to say, hey, like this can really help your life.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. So, and everything is just trial and error because you think you have a great ad and a great message, and nope, didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's something that I've seen as I've worked on like some of my own invention ideas of, oh, like how do I get this out there? Who do I target? How do I get to them? It's it's always a process. So you said that you don't have an engineering background. Your husband doesn't have an engineering background. So what is it about
No.
this what is it that made you say we may not have this like a background in this that made you say like I'm the person that should make this instead of waiting for someone else to go and make it or trying to find a different solution that someone else may have already come up with. Essentially what I'm asking is why you?
I'm a firm believer now, especially that if you have a dream, a vision, whatever you want to call it, if you keep having this inkling of this feeling like, hey, I have this idea, or, I just feel like I can't get rid of it. It's always just there in the back of my head, like, oh, remember this, remember this. There's a reason that you're seeing it. There's a reason that you're feeling it. It's because you can do it and it's
Mm-hmm.
meant for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Some people, it's like just they have that song playing in the back of their head. They say, I have to write this song now. But for you,
Yeah.
it's, I have this invention in my head. I have to make it. It has to be done. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night anymore.
Yeah, and I realized like one of my strong suits is I'm a very creative person. So I enjoy creating this product and finding how it can fit into people's lives. I do enjoy marketing because I love psychology. So learning what hooks people and why and how to get their intention is super fascinating to me. So there's a reason that I have these interests.
hmm So you have Laundry Buddy, the completed product in hand, the final version.
Mhm.
What next? When you first had that completed product in your hand, how did you decide to take it to market?
So we originally were just on Shopify and we were doing Facebook ads and just Instagram ads. And that was not a great ROI. So we said, you know what, let's go on Amazon because you really can't beat the traffic
hmm
of Amazon. But a slight problem with Laundry Buddy is not only do we have to do a brand awareness, but a product awareness. So that's a huge issue because it's something that, was just invented. It's not like you're looking for another iPhone case or a phone case. Like people don't know how to search for it if they don't know what it is.
hmm
So going on Amazon right now, so that's where we are. And we'll be working on trying to get in stores. But I guess you could just say trying to raise that brand awareness and knowing that we put out a high quality product because I don't want you to pay money. That product is just going to break on you and you have to buy another one. To me, that pisses me off to no end. So I really want people to know when they see Andiamo Home, they're going to know, oh, okay, it's not just a cheap product that's going to break on me in a couple of months. Like I've been using Laundry Buddy for, I don't know, 2-3 years, and not one of them have broke. Not one of them have not kept their shape. So that's what we're going through.
All right. So you decided to, at this point, were you manufacturing it yourself, or were you like, did you outsource it to a manufacturing company to work with at that point, or how are they being made?
So we have a manufacturer in the U.S. and the material also comes from the U.S. So it's all 100% American made.
All right.
Then the manufacturer ships it to my house, and me and my husband put them all together in the bag and with our card, and then we ship them off to Amazon, and it's fulfilled by Amazon.
Okay, makes sense. So why did you go with the option? Well, why did you go with manufacturing and doing as much of it in-house as you were? Since there are many other options you could do for taking a product to a product to market. For example, I like to try to license products where I'm just the inventor, I'm just the idea guy. I then try to pitch those ideas to companies and they do the manufacturing, the distribution, the marketing for it. So why not go for a route like that? Or I guess why choose to make it and do as much in-house as you are?
I think, I mean, I guess you could say it starts out as an ego thing
hmm
where you're like, no, I created this, so I'm going to see it through, and I want to control all of the aspects of it. And I think it's just because right now we're still like relatively new as a company, and it's manageable. It's becoming a little unmanageable, but we're manageable right now, being able to do it by ourselves. Like we know when it comes in, we're like, okay, for the next like week when the kids go down to sleep, my husband and I are in front of the TV, just like putting all the packages together, printing all the labels, shipping it out. I kind of, I want to see it through.
hmm
And especially like I do my own QA and I look at everything and I call the
hmm
manufacturer, I'm like, can we just adjust this little thing, please? Because I really, I want to deliver the best product. I took the time to find, the best plastic I could, and I took the time to design everything. So to me, I just want to see it through because I really want to deliver this great finished product to our customers.
Yeah, fair enough. And the only reason I bring it up is to explore different ideas of how someone could take their own ideas and bring it to market. It's cool to
Mhm.
hear that taking a much greater hands-on approach compared to what I like to do. And I'd love to hear about these different approaches that people do when they're coming up with their various invention ideas.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you consider yourself to be a very creative person. What have been some of the skills or traits that like you've previously developed that have helped you as an inventor and as an entrepreneur? I'm assuming creativity is one of those skills that's helped you out, but what might be some other ones?
I guess you could say looking at things objectively. So I I know what I want, but then you have to take a step back and go, okay, what does everyone else want? What are they looking for? What's going to catch their eye? What's their pain point? What is like a what's worth it for them for a solution? So I guess you could say that I can step outside and think, okay, I need to not just think about me. I need to think about what they want and what they need. um I think, and then also me, just I like literally my husband will joke, he's like, oh, you're having a meeting with yourself, because I'll just go sit by myself in my office and just brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
And he always says like, oh, you have a million tabs open in your head. I'm like, yeah, but that's a great thing, because I've thought about everything from the beginning, A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's being able honestly to think about every single small detail.
So definitely a skill very important as an inventor
Mhm.
and entrepreneur is product. I want to call it project management of being
Mhm.
able to sit down and keep everything straight. It might like maybe it doesn't have to all be in your head, but
Mhm.
certainly be able to organize, keep your ideas straight, go through and see, is this thing actually working like I thought it would, or are there different ways that I could do it? Am I sort of on the right track there?
Oh yeah, and definitely having to be flexible and to not just hold on to that idea or how you want it to turn on with a death grip. You have to be flexible and you have to go, okay, like I thought this was going to work, but it's not. So let me go back to the drawing board again. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely an important factor.
How do you get used to like? At least maybe that's not the right question, not the right way to phrase it. How do you start looking at your products or start looking at your ideas and actually look at them more critically? Since recently I was talking with an author, and this is a similar problem that authors might have, where they look at the things that they've written, and he called it being nose blind, where he was
Yeah.
so head into his product, so head into his book that he didn't see the flaws in it anymore. How do you go about trying to prevent that from happening to yourself?
Well, that's easy. I was my biggest critic for forever. I learned that I need to give myself grace. So there's that. And also, I have a very, very, very small group of friends and family, even throughout this entire process. Hey guys, I need your opinion on this. What do you think? Because they can give me they give me their honest opinions. And it's also just, and it's like, it's from my mom to my dad to my in-laws to our best friends, like, hey, look at this, what do you want and what do you need? And obviously you get a different age group in there, and male and female perspectives. So I would say I could be a little critical. I used to be. I'm much better now, but critical of myself. And then obviously having that core group of people of support that will give you that constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm. And how have you been able to separate out the criticism of the product versus criticism against yourself? Since, once again, I know this is a problem that many inventors or creators in general face, where they might hear criticism about a product, and many of them seem to take it very personally, even though all the criticism is really just about the product. How do you learn to separate the art from the artist in this case?
Recognizing that you're attaching your ego to the product, and that's not what it is. At the end of the day, it's a product.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you put your heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into this. Completely understandable that you have an emotional attachment. But it's just like with kids too. Like people see their kids as an extension of themselves. So they're super critical on them, and they have these unrealistic expectations, or they don't want them to make the mistakes as them. And you have to realize you have to separate your ego. Your product is a product. Your kids are your kids. They're their own individuals. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just learning to separate that ego.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. That I feel like in order to be successful in any creative situation where you're actively creating something, whether that's writing a book, writing a song, creating a new product, you have to learn
Mm-hmm.
to be able to separate the art from the artist, to separate the
Mm-hmm.
criticisms of, oh, I think like this product could be better because X, Y, or Z, compared to like the not so helpful criticisms some people might get. Typically, it's more from the random people online who might review a product, but really, I don't know, might just be having a bad day where their criticisms are really just them venting. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a skill that I feel like everyone has to go through at some point. Everyone has
Yeah,
to learn how to separate the criticisms of their work from the criticisms of themselves and learn that just because someone doesn't like this product doesn't mean that I am worth less.
exactly. And then you also have to understand, like you said, like people having a bad day, but you have people, like we say, we're just going through the motions and not living in an intentional life. And people who are going to criticize you. I'm not saying that your product isn't, worthy of having critique, not it's my
Mm-hmm.
product, not every single person on this planet is going to love it. There's not one thing in this entire world, even apple pie, that every single person loves. And you just have to not take it personally because it's not at the end of the day. It's just everyone's just projecting how they feel about themselves or how they view the world, and they're projecting that out into the world. And, that's for their perspective. Great. Moving on.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a bit about your design process of how you were able to iterate and redesign versions of Laundry Buddy over the years, or over, I don't know how long it's been in production, but yeah, how did you work on iterating on designs?
Uh, I would literally or either me or my husband and I, we would sit down and think, okay, what do we need it to do? Because at first, when we first invented Laundry Buddy, it actually was just going to be Dryer Buddy. And we are only going to put it on in the dryer because we didn't know how to navigate that hoop of putting it in the washer and being compatible with all your laundry products. So I honestly God would just sit down and just think, okay, what do I need it to do? So what do I kind of need it to look like, or what attributes do I need to look for? And then, okay, let's try this design. Tried it. Nope. Let's tweak it. Oh, nope, nope. This design is completely out. Sit down again and just brainstorm about how to get another design. And like I said, it's trial and error.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then for the different designs that you did you make full-fledged prototypes, like, or did you make minimum viable product style prototypes where it's sometimes it's a good example of this is a product I'm currently working on. It's a redesign of slingshots,
Mm,
where I could go and spend a bunch of money getting high quality materials to work with to build this prototype, or I could go down to the thrift store nearby and buy garbage for like
yeah.
maybe $2 and build a prototype from that. Is that more of what you did, or did you go down the route of making more high quality prototypes for each?
So some were like buying materials off of Amazon to, do at home or a little experiment. Some were using like someone with their own 3D print, like CNC machining. That was the majority of it when we kind of landed on plastic and this design. And then it was okay, well, the CNC, what the materials that they can come out with won't withstand the storm of what we need to do for the washer and the dryer for the heat temps. So then it was okay, we're 99% sure we have the design down. So now we're going to go to someone and ask, please make us an injection mold, and this is the kind of plastic that we want. And then they did it, and thank God it worked.
Okay, so it's sort of testing and iterating on not just the design but also the materials at the same time.
Yes, definitely both factors.
Okay, interesting. So I want to sort of work with you on the fly here for a bit to try to create a simple framework to help our listeners go from nothing, maybe idea in their head, to bringing a product to market.
Mhm.
So if you're starting out, or if you're talking to someone who wants to become an inventor but maybe doesn't know where to start, what might be a place that you would recommend them to start?
I say YouTube University, honestly. Anything and every it's hard because, there's a million people out there who claim like, hey, this information is accurate and listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not always the case. So, but I mean, that's what I did. I go on YouTube, or I would just, go on Google and just try to be, okay, well, this is what I think I want to do. has someone done this, or do they have recommendations for me for this step in the process? Watch a bunch of different videos from different people. Okay, I see a similar trend right here where they're all saying, do this. Okay, let me try that. Nope, didn't work. Or, yep, it did. Okay, next step. So, I mean, there's other people out there that they might not have invented what you invented, but they've gone through a similar process. It's just like you're interviewing people like me and others, and you're doing it yourself. So also listen to podcasts. I mean, you're not alone on this journey. So I would just, if you can't afford a mentor or you can't find a mentor, you can find them on the internet.
Absolutely. The internet is a wonderful place to find any sort of information. I know when I started on my inventing journey, it was the go-to place for me to find stuff. And I found some great resources on there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any recommended resources of like any specific names or places that you remember? That one helped me out a lot.
Ugh. Honestly, I can't think of any that come to mind just because when I started this whole thing from way back then, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to remember.
Hey,
Um,
if you don't, it's all good.
yeah, I honestly don't, and I'm very sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. But almost certainly, if someone wants to go find information on becoming an inventor or
Mhm.
licensing their first product or bringing their first product to market, there's going to be someone or some sort of information out there, most likely for free, that
Yes.
that can get them started.
I mean, you even have lawyers that are on YouTube that will give you advice. I mean, unfortunately, like when I got the most advice was actually when I paid people like my, manufacturer, hey, we always have a working relationship. This is what I'm dealing with. Can you give me any recommendations? And then when I have my attorney, hey, this is what I'm doing. What route should we take? So unfortunately, it was when I was paying people. But like I said, we did research on our own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when someone is looking at starting or wanting to bring their own product to market, where do you think they should start aside from just researching from YouTube University? Is this perhaps where they start with should they start with research first and foremost of how do you bring a product in general to market, or should they maybe be looking at like a problem, trying to find a problem to solve, or maybe look through their book of ideas to see, ooh, this is a fun invention idea. Maybe we should try that and find a problem to fit that. Where do you think would be a good place for someone to start if they have absolutely no idea?
I'd say you need to look at what age range you are trying to attract and go from there. Because like one of our problems we ran into was when we heavily did Facebook ads. Well, that age range doesn't really like the idea of buying things off a random click on the internet because you're getting a much older demographic. Whereas if your product is something for young people, oh my God, TikTok. Do you know how many people buy things on TikTok or Instagram without even a second thought? So I'd say for sure look at what age range you're trying to target and then determine what that age range shopping habits are.
Okay. So taking almost with a customer first mentality of who's the customer I want to attract, and then from there look at what problems does this person have, see
Mm-hmm.
what are they actually interested in, what can I serve, what can I offer to them that would be a no brainer of this is a like the value that this idea, this solution, this invention that you have solves is it's obvious that I should buy this thing. Is that sort of the direction you're leaning towards?
Yeah, and obviously just like where they spend their time.
Mm-hmm.
So, do they spend, like I said, like if you're going for a college student, what do they do in their free time? They're
Mm-hmm.
on TikTok or they're on Instagram and they're lazily just swiping, swiping, swiping. So that's a good way to get their attention or Pinterest. So I would say shopping habits and where they spend their free time. Once you figure it out, obviously, like this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is who I'm targeting. I would say look at who you're targeting to try to get to, okay, now how do I get in front of them for them to buy?
Mm-hmm. So, simple framework, just piecing together from our short conversation here. Perhaps start with a customer in mind to see
Mhm.
who do I want to talk to, who do I want to target, who do I want to serve. Then from there, you can more easily figure out, well, what problems does this group of people have? Once you see their problems, you can work from there to create some sort of solution. You might have to go through a couple different iterations. You might have to make a few prototypes. And a good recommendation for this is to keep it cheap, keep it simple. Don't blow the budget on prototypes.
Yeah, or even go on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Go on Reddit and say, hey guys, is this a problem that you have? And
Mm-hmm.
see who responds.
Yep. I agree with that so much that if you just ask people, what are your problems? Like, you can find there are infinite problems out
Oh,
there, and there might already be products to solve those problems. But even if there are products to solve those problems already, a good example of this is how many different pencils are there out in the world? Just because one already exists doesn't mean that there isn't room for another one or a different version of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna guess there's probably another product out there that helps people with their fitted sheets doing laundry. I can't think of it, but I'm assuming that you probably ran into one or two kind of similar products as you were working on Laundry Buddy. Am I right?
Yeah, right when we were supposed to be hitting the market, um, we heard about Wad Free, and her design is great. And she went on Shark Tank, and where I was like, oh man, because I mean, we did a search, but it's fine. Like, I was a little upset about it. I was like, oh dang, I kind of thought I'd be the first one. And my friend who was helping us out a little bit, he goes, that's a good thing. That means that there's a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you upset? This is great. And I was like, oh, okay. And then there have been people who have copied our design. We're like, oh, well, I mean, I guess ours is great because people are copying our design, and they're listing all of our uses that we came out with. So, I mean, I guess this is a problem that people are really wanting to solve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people copying your ideas or mimicking it isn't always a bad thing. And
I know.
oftentimes it's
Apparently it's supposed to be flattering.
Mm-hmm.
It sent me a little bit, and I was like, do you know how long I worked with this for? Like,
Hey, as the saying goes, mockery is the best form of flattery. So
yeah.
clearly you did something right.
Yeah, that's as my husband. He's like, you should be flattered. I'm like, well, I'm upset. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm. So that does actually bring up an interesting topic that we haven't talked about at all. That's the idea of patents. And like, note, we are not patent advisors. We are not lawyers.
No.
But from your experience with have you patented this product, or is this?
Yes. So it's patent pending, and then I also have trademarks for Laundry Buddy and Andiamo Home. Have patience is what I have to say. Because even, I don't know, we filed for a patent about like 8-9 months ago, and our lawyer is like, all right, expect another year. I'm like, are you wow, like that's wild. And he goes, even when you hear back from them, it's going to be a little bit of back and forth thing, because they're going to be like, oh, like, can you change this verbiage? I don't like this. It's hard because I got unsolicited advice. So you always get that of people saying, oh, don't do it. Someone's just going to rip you off, probably from China too. And, don't. And it's like, well, you know what? I see it as I'm going about it the right way. I'm not copying someone. I'm not ripping someone off. And I have good intentions going into this, because I'm not going into this for money. I'm going into this because I really found a problem that could be a great solution. And I want to share that with other people. And when someone comes back and says, oh, Laundry Buddy helped me and this and that. And I'm like, oh, that's so great. Like, I'm so happy for you. Like, there's a little less stress in your life. So I'm going about it with the right intention. So, you know what? Like, I think I should get a patent. I should protect that. And, some people are gonna be like, oh, like, it's not worth the money. And, you can do it yourself. You don't need a lawyer to do it. But I did, because if the patent office came back with me writing it, dear Lord, that would probably take like 7 months of them being like, lady, what on earth did you write in here? Like, this is not correct. This is not the format. So, honestly, and obviously it comes down to if you have the funds for it, but I think it's a good idea. That's just my 2 cents. Someone else can, have a different opinion from me, and that's great. Whatever works for them.
You say you're patent pending currently. Did you do a provisional patent application beforehand to?
I did. That was suggested. Hey, do a provisional patent, see if you get some traction on this, to see, if it's kind of worth it. And, a lawyer said that too, because also when you do a provisional patent, some of the legwork is already done. So it's just paying for it, basically, we'll say in installment fees, because it's not just like one upfront. Okay, we're starting with the patent. We haven't done provisional. Let's pay for all of it at once, where we did the provisional patent. So it was a little bit cheaper because we already put some money towards the provisional patent.
It's kind of like getting your foot in the door to say,
Yeah.
hold my place for a second. Let me check and make sure this actually has a place in the market before I drop
Yeah.
10 grand or something on getting an actual full-fledged patent.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, at what point in the process did you say, okay, I should probably actually start working on getting a patent for this?
Um, I think obviously seeing success of the other, like I said, the other product, and then just talking to customers or in day-to-day life, and then also Laundry Buddy becoming more versatile and having more uses. And I was like, it's honestly game changing. And then another factor was I put so much love into this product because I truly wanted to give you a high quality product, because you deserve that. Everyone works hard for their money, and I want to give you something where you never have to buy it again. Because and I know that's a bad business tactic, and I'm like, well, you know what? Have you seen the movie Joy? That's honestly my favorite movie. She invents like a broom that it's expensive than all the others, but it has more absorbency, and you could take it off and put it in the washer and dryer, and it just changes the market. That's just how I approach things. And I just saw that there really truly is a need for it. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I can say, as someone who personally enjoys high quality products, I appreciate having a product that I can get just once and not have to worry about replacing
Yeah.
it anytime soon.
Yeah. The whole let's make a cheap one. Who cares if a couple of months and they have to come back for more? Great. They have to come back for more. It's slimy. I don't like it. That's not the way I want to do business. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
apparently I can make more money the other way, but I don't, like I said, that's not why I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's more important to care about the customer first than it is to care about
Yeah,
their pocketbook.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Aurora, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Are there any other recommendations or resources you would give to our aspiring inventors or entrepreneurs before we start wrapping this up?
No, like I said, listen to podcasts, go on YouTube, find people on Instagram, and then I'm sure they'll share their platforms. But it's great because you get to learn lessons without having, living vicariously through these people. So it can save you from some mistakes. And you just gotta honestly have faith in yourself. And it's okay that it's going to be hard. That's how it's supposed to be. And you gotta accept that.
Mm-hmm. A smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes.
Hmm.
It's exactly that. Go out, research, see what you can find from other people, and
Yeah.
then once you maybe set a deadline to say, I'm going to start working on this thing by this point, because it
Hmm.
happens all too often. People get way too deep down the research rabbit hole that they just don't end up doing anything. Set a deadline for your research and then go and try something. Go
Oh yeah.
work on making stuff. But,
And analysis paralysis. I lived in analysis paralysis for months because I was so scared to order this injection mold and to order this material. Like I was looking at everything like, okay, like it has to match up, like it has to work. And I almost didn't want to pull the trigger. I wanted to wait a little bit more to, get a little bit more reassuring, but analysis paralysis will just
mm-hmm.
destroy you. You can't live there.
Yeah. And when all is said and done, it's just money.
Hmm.
It's probably not going to impact your quality of life. Money can always be made up again.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're going to this and you want to make something, be ready to put down some investment. Be willing to
Yeah.
say, I'm willing to throw away a bit of money to see, well, to try something out. It might not work. It might be amazing.
Yeah.
But going into it knowing that you're going to invest something, that you may fail, but you're going to learn in the process,
Hmm.
that can certainly make all the difference. So, Aurora, once again, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. It's been a wonderful conversation. If someone wants to get started, learn more about what you do, or connect with you, where should they go next?
Um, We have, so I'm, we mentioned this before we started airing, but I'm terrible at technology. So I'm not big on doing the whole social media because to me, I'm just like, I can't.
Don't
But
worry, neither am I. I kind of hate it.
I do. And everyone, it's all fake,
Mm-hmm.
and it just sucks your energy, or you do find those people that have great energy and you want to follow them. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, I have 2 kids too, and this business, I just don't have the time for that.
You have a life to go and live.
I do. But we do have like a YouTube. You look us up like on Diamo Home, and you'll see videos of my husband and I with a million bloopers for trying to do our demonstration videos because we are terrible at doing videos. But look, you do have a demonstration video there.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a Facebook and Instagram with On Diamo Home Goods, but like I said, we're not very active because everything is 100% on us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's where we are. And obviously on Amazon.
All right. Sounds good. I'll be sure to link all those down in the description. So, yeah,
Awesome.
it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, then please share with a friend you think would like it or share it on social media. It would absolutely mean the world to me and it helps the podcast grow so much. With all that said, thanks for listening. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later. Ciao.